You know, maintaining those low and slow smoking type temperatures on your Weber kettle can be pretty difficult, especially if no one's ever shown you how to do it. Well, that's what I'm gonna do right now. I'm gonna show you how to work your kettle so you can maintain those low temperatures for the long cooks. And this way you can stop guessing how to work your vents and make much juicier brisket, more tender pork butt, or even perfectly bite through ribs. Let's go. So as we get into this, let me tell you right up front, there's only 3 components to maintaining temperature. I wanna tell you all 3 of them right now, but be sure to stay with me because I wanna show you each one of those in action on the kettle here. The first is called landing the plane. The second is in the range. And the third is action versus reaction. All right, guys, we're gonna use the slow and sear for this example. Now you can do anything you want. If you have a snake, if you have the Weber baskets, a smoke and sizzle, whatever you may have, or you just want to shove charcoal to one side, that's fine too. But we're just using the slow and sear. That's what we have available to us right now. Works well. So I'm putting those lit charcoals on one side. Go ahead and get our grate on. Get our thermometer in. Get our lid on. As always, we're going to put the vent over the meat. So this top vent is going to be wide open. Leave the top vent wide open. We're going to put it over where our meat will be. The reason we're putting the vent over the meat is because we want to pull the smoke and the heat across our meat and out the vent. So we're going to let this go, and our smoking temperature is going to be 250. We're going to pick right in the middle. Show you how to get there. Keep our temperature right now, we're at 101 and climbing. Vent on the bottom is 100% open. Of course, the dome vent is open too. So we're off and going. I'll bring you back as I start to make some moves with the vents. All right, folks, again, our temperature goal is 250. That's what we want to smoke at. This is what I call the first step. This is landing the plane. As we approach 180, I'm hoping you can see that. Let me bring it a little closer to make sure you can see where we're at. We are now at currently about 175 degrees. When it gets here in a minute, I'm going to slowly close the vent a little bit as I gradually bring us into 250. I can't wait till it gets to 250 to start shutting vents. We've got to land the plane gradually, however you want to put it. That's the analogy I use. As I bring it down into 250, I start slowly closing that vent to where I land at 250 and I can stay there. We're at 180 now, so I'm going to start closing it just a little bit. You'll see me close the vent here just a tad. Not much at all. You saw I didn't move it all, hardly at all there. That'll start slowing things down a little bit. We don't want to stop everything. We just want to slow things down a little bit because it's much easier to get to 250 slowly closing the grate or the vent as opposed to trying to close it all at once at 250. You'll never stop it there. So you got to plan ahead. Just be out here with it when you first start. Let's slowly close it down and stop at 250. I'll bring you back as we get closer to 250 and show you where our vents are at, what we're going to do next. Actually, what I thought I'd do, guys, I've got this blue grill. It's kind of my demo grill that I use for teaching. So what I'm going to do here is show you where the vents are inside the black one that's burning charcoal in this grill. So we'll see right there is wide open, and we've closed it about that right there. Now, while we're watching this temperature go up, guys, it's 203 now. It's only been about 2 or 3 minutes. It's already 203. Something I got to share with you real quickly is the way I do things with my vents as opposed to what Weber recommends. Weber recommends you use this vent to control your temperatures. They want you to leave the bottom vent 100% open, and this vent is where you would work your temperatures. I don't like doing that. I do the exact opposite of that, and it works beautifully for me. Done it for years. Here's why I do that. I think when this vent is open all the way, I try to leave it open all the way, completely the whole cook. I like to leave it all the way open and close the bottom vent. The reason why I do that, I feel like I get much better convection. When I talked about a minute ago about the smoke and the heat coming up and across the meat and out the vent, I feel like I get much better convection when I have the bottom vent somewhat closed and all 4 of these holes pulling air through the vent, through the kettle. I think I get much better convection with that. Now, we not get a lot of convection on the Weber kettle, not a lot of space. I mean, it's like from here to here, right? So it's not a lot of convection, but we try to get as much as we can. And I promise you, I get much better bark on my briskets when I do it this way. Leave the top open as much as you possibly can. Use the bottom vent and close it to maintain, to correct your temperature. If by chance you get to where it's hard to maintain temperature with your vent very much closed on the bottom, you can then of course start adjusting this vent. But I try to leave it open best I can. The whole time, the whole cook, I control with the bottom vent. That's my philosophy, and it works great for me. I know it's different than what Weber says, different than what a lot of people do, but it works beautifully for me. I like it. I think it does a much better job getting much better pull and much better convection. All right, folks, we're at 227. In about 3 more degrees, I want to close this vent a little bit more, and I'll show you that as we do it. And we're just gonna wait till about 230 and close it down. So remember, we're trying to come into 250, land that plane very smoothly at 250. So we're at 228, 229 here. I'll close the vent here just a second. Notice the amount of smoke we get coming out. It's a very good amount of smoke. All right, here we go. We're gonna close this vent just a little bit more. So it's about a quarter of the way open, but that'll slow things down probably quite a bit. I'll bring you back once we get to 250 or close to 250. If I adjust the vent anymore, we'll definitely do that. If I have to adjust the top vent, I'll show you that too. Back in just a minute. So we'll close this blue kettle just a little bit more, down to a quarter where we'll close the other one. And all we have left is just that circle open right there. That's all we've got left in the vent, which is what's going on in the black one too. All right, folks, you see we're at 245 and climbing, right? Or 244 and climbing. I want to close the vent just a little bit more, not a whole lot. Just a little bit, because I want to come in there at 250, slow things down quite a bit here. We may go past 250, but we're going to let it go. I'll tell you what that is. That's another step of the 3. So I'll tell you what we're going to do here in a minute. Let me show you the blue one. I'm going to close it just a little bit more. Now there's just barely even a vent open down there. Barely any air coming in there. That shows you, though, what the littlest amount of air can do with charcoal. Now you see it's still climbing. It's 258 and climbing slowly. Now it's slowing. The climb is slowing down. This is what we call number 2. This is called in the range. I'm perfectly content with 259, 260 degrees, 265 degrees, because I know it's going to slow down some. That's called in the range. I'm 250 is what my goal is. If it was 240 or 260, I'm perfectly fine with that. Remember, we're doing a freaking 10, 12-hour cook here. So being 10 degrees over my goal temperature is not a big deal. It's okay. If I was at 20 or 25 degrees above, I would start going, okay, and sustained at 20, 25 for like 10 or 15 minutes, then I'd say, okay, we need to do something. But right now it's slowly climbing. It'll start coming down in a minute. The closing of that vent makes a difference, and that's number 3. We'll talk about that in a minute. But this is within the range. I'm okay with it. 260 is not a big deal compared to 250, especially because I know it's going to be coming down. I'll bring you back as it starts coming down. All right, guys, so you see now it's up to 272, and my goal is 250. You're like, get grumpy, what's going on, dude? You're way past where you said. Yep, I sure am. I'm not the least bit worried. Again, we're within the range. We're close to being within the range, but I know that my temperature is going to come back down. And this is where step number 3, or component number 3, comes into play. Action versus reaction. We close the vent some. It may take 10 or 15 minutes for that closing of the vent to have a reaction of lowering the temperature. Matter of fact, it's coming down now. We've done nothing different. I've not touched a vent since I last showed you what I closed it to. It's about this 1/8 of the way open. So it's coming back down now. That is action versus reaction. You cannot expect an immediate reaction from your action. It may take 10 or 15 minutes sometimes. Hopefully not that long, but sometimes it does. Once you close the vent, even at least a little bit, just watch and see what happens. That's the thing about the kettle. Just every action you take has a reaction. Just give it time. Remember, it's a 10, 12-hour cook probably. If it's ribs, maybe 6 or 7-hour cook. Either way, of course, maybe even a 4-hour cook for ribs, but depends on how you do them. But either way, this is going to have a reaction. Things are going to work out. We're within the range again. It'll continue to drop down. Feel very certain. Over time, it's going to drop down and get down closer to 250. And I'm okay if it's at 260. I'm not going to make a change if it sits at 260 and gets there and just happily sits at 260. I'm not making a change. I'm letting it sit. It's going to go back up a little bit, and that's going to come back down. The whole 9 yards. Just let it go. Don't make any rash movements. Once you make a movement with the vent, let it go. I will say, though, if this continues to do it, all we've got to do is either let's just close this vent just a little bit, close it a quarter of the way. That right there will also have a reaction. My goal, if I do that and leave it here, is to get that back open just as soon as I get back down to temperature. Once I get stabilized, I can then open this back up and watch what happens. I love this vent for that purpose. I can always get it back open once I get my temperature down to where I want it to be, or up to where I want it to be. Of course, it's always open, so it's not going to go up anymore, but I can do that no problem. Just close it off there a little bit, about a quarter of the way, and watch the temperature go down. So as you can see, guys, the temperature is definitely coming down now. It's 257.6 and working its way down. We are within range. I'm very comfortable with this range we're at. Being 257, coming back down towards 250. Again, in the range is fine with me. And also, smallest action has a reaction you've got to wait for. We did close that vent on the bottom a little bit more. We closed our top vent just a hair bit. It's opened back up now completely, and it's still going down. We know what we're going to do. So Just take it easy, nice and slow, and don't freak out when nothing happens immediately. It's not going to happen immediately. I keep saying that, I know, but that's really the biggest thing I think people do is they overreact. You can't do that. You got to just let the reaction happen, watch what happens. Now we're going to 250. We're going to slow down right there. May open the vent on the bottom just a little bit, back to a quarter of open instead of an eighth open if it starts going too low. Otherwise, we're going to stabilize right here. Look at that. We're at 251 right at it. I'm cool with that. 251's good if I'm looking for 250. So we've landed the plane. We've stayed within the range. And now we let our actions have the reaction so we know how to control our temps. It's all you got to do, folks. It's not that hard, I promise. Just be patient and don't overreact. All right, folks, there you go. There's the 3 essential components to maintaining temperature for the long, low, and slow cook on your rubber kettle. Remember, first one's going to be landing the plane. Come into your temperature slowly. As you get closer to 250, start closing the vent early. Don't wait till you're at 250 and try to close the vent then. Close it at 200 and work your way from there. Secondly, is to stay within the range. Guys, it's a 10 or 12 hour cook. You don't have to be at 250 for every single minute of that 10-hour cook. You're going to get above and below. Don't freak out when you start going a little bit above or a little bit below. Just wait it out and see what happens. And lastly is action versus reaction. Every action you take with your vents is going to have a reaction. It won't be instantaneous. It's going to be 5, 10, even 15 minutes sometimes before a reaction happens. Be aware of that and give it time. When you close the vent, don't think it's not working right away. Give it 10 or 15 minutes and close it some more. It's okay. It's not going to blow up, right? It's not going to burn in 5 minutes. Let it go. See what happens when you close that vent. See what changes you have. Land the plane, stay within the range, and action versus reaction. Take your time, be patient. Cooking barbecue is a patient game. It's definitely a patient game. Same thing goes with controlling your vents on the kettle. All right, guys, hope you got some value out of this. Please hit the like button. Subscribe to our channel. We'd greatly appreciate that. Until next time, I'll meet you at the smoker.